Even a pop superstar can take a wrong turn in life, and sometimes that's what makes the journey unforgettable. Taylor Swift's life was always fast paced, but it was the quiet moments in between where she found her inspiration. In the midst of a world tour with stadiums filled to the brim, endless rehearsals, and flashing lights everywhere she went, Taylor felt something was missing. Sure, her fans cheered for her on stage, but how often did she get to experience the thrill of surprising them face to face outside the spotlight? That afternoon, while scrolling through her phone in her dressing room, Taylor had an idea. A surprise meetup, a real, authentic, and just one of you kind of moment. No security, no photographers, just Taylor and a handful of Swifties. She could already hear the excited gasps and see the gleaming smiles in her mind. She knew it would be magic. With a simple post on her Twitter, Taylor said, "I'm going to surprise some of my fans today at a local park. If you're around, look out for me. I'll be there soon." She couldn't wait for the reactions to flood in, imagining the joy on her fans' faces when they saw her pop up out of nowhere. Of course, her dedicated followers immediately began speculating which park it might be, but Taylor had intentionally kept the details vague. She loved the idea of keeping them guessing. The wrong turn. With her mind racing with excitement, Taylor didn't think twice about logistics. She had her phone, a quick glance at her favorite navigation app, and a simple address to follow. It was supposed to be easy. She was, after all, a seasoned traveler, used to navigating the world's largest cities, airports, and venues. A park was nothing to a seasoned traveler like her, or so she thought. About 30 minutes into the drive, Taylor realized something was wrong. The streets were becoming unfamiliar, and the view outside her car window was a far cry from the urban area she thought she'd be near. Confused, she checked her phone again. Ah, she muttered to herself. I must have missed the exit. After a few more turns and some uneasy silence in the car, Taylor decided to trust her trusty GPS. It has to be right, right? She reassured herself. But the road kept getting weirder. Instead of winding into a park, it seemed like she was driving through residential neighborhoods, then into a quiet street with barely any foot traffic. Her heart rate started to rise. Taylor had been in many tough spots before, on stage, under pressure, facing critics, the media, and even herself, but this was a new one. Okay, okay, she said aloud to no one but herself. This has to be the right place. I'm just a few minutes away. As she passed a seemingly random intersection, she caught a glimpse of a small, quiet park ahead. The sign read, Miller's Green Park. Definitely not the name she remembered. Her stomach sank. This wasn't right. Th. Fans, delight, and laughter. Meanwhile, back at the park, Taylor's fans had already begun to assemble, excited beyond measure. They had been waiting for a good hour, sharing theories about when and where Taylor might appear. Their phones were out, ready for photos and videos. The anticipation was palpable. There was no sign of Taylor yet, but they were all buzzing. They had faith. She was always unpredictable, but they knew she would show up. Do you think she'll wear a disguise? One fan joked, scanning the crowd for any sign of the superstar. I bet she's already here and we don't even know it. Another fan replied, eyes darting across the park. Minutes passed, then an hour, and still nothing. The crowd began to murmur, wondering if they'd been played or if Taylor had simply forgotten about her promise. After all, celebrities like her had busy schedules, right? That's when they saw it, a shiny black SUV slowly rolling into the parking lot. Everyone froze. Could this be it? The car came to a halt, and the door opened. But instead of the usual entourage of security, assistants, and photographers, Taylor Swift stepped out looking utterly confused. Her face was filled with surprise and mild panic as she surveyed the area. One fan, seeing her face, was the first to scream, "It's her! It's Taylor Swift!" The rest of the crowd immediately erupted into cheers. But there was one problem. Taylor wasn't standing in front of them, dressed in her usual glam, ready for a meet and greet. No, she looked slightly disheveled, her hair slightly out of place from a day of travel. And most noticeably, she was holding nothing. Her arms were empty. She had no water bottle, no phone, and most importantly, no racket. Taylor's hilarious apology. So, Taylor began, raising her hands in defeat, her cheeks blushing a little. "I may have gotten a little lost." The fans broke into laughter. It was one of those moments where everyone could feel the joy bubbling up, not because of her misfortune, but because it was real. Taylor, in her most endearing way, was laughing with them. It wasn't an awkward pause. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was like they had just witnessed a moment of pure humanity from one of the biggest stars in the world. "Yeah, so I think I took a wrong turn or two, or a 20," she continued, her face breaking into a sheepish grin. "But I made it, and I have nothing to show for it except my awkward self and this very confused face." The fans couldn't stop laughing. It was refreshing to see a superstar like Taylor be so down to earth, so candid about her mistake. Instead of getting upset or flustered, she embraced it, turning the mishap into a moment of humor. To make up for it, Taylor did what any self-respecting superstar would do. She offered to take selfies, sign autographs, and chat with every single fan present, making the afternoon feel even more personal than they had anticipated. Some fans were even in tears, not because they were disappointed, but because they'd just witnessed something real, something raw. "Next time, I'll bring a GPS that works," Taylor promised with a wink. "And maybe he'll send a map to all of you so I'm not late next time." The viral moment. The video clips from that afternoon spread like wildfire across social media. Fans shared photos of the moment they met Taylor, laughing at her navigation mishap. The hashtag #TaylorGotLost began trending within hours, and the clip of Taylor laughing at herself as she stood there, lost but glowing, caught the attention of millions. It wasn't just a funny moment. It was a reminder that even the biggest stars in the world are, in the end, just people. Taylor's authenticity, her willingness to make light of the situation, and her open vulnerability made fans love her even more. For once, Taylor wasn't just a girl on stage singing hit after hit. She was one of us. And that's what made this viral moment unforgettable. "Next time, I promise you'll bring the right map," Taylor laughed, signing off on Twitter that evening. "But it was worth it for the memories we made today. Thank you for being the best fans ever. Love you." And just like that, Taylor Swift had made another unforgettable memory. Not through perfection, but through her willingness to embrace the imperfections. Because sometimes being real is the most powerful thing you can be. Comment below if you've ever gotten lost in the middle of a perfect plan. And share if you think Taylor's the most down-to-earth superstar out there.